Democrats seem to be quite worried about the possible return of Donald Trump. Check this out. Obama privately warned Biden about Trump's strength in 2024. It says the former president, Barack Obama, offered current President Joe Biden some advice at a private lunch in June 2023, warning him not to underestimate the strengths of the former president. Talking about Trump. While visiting the White House this summer for what aides described as a regular catch up between the two men, Obama reportedly warned of Biden of Trump's iron grip on the Republican Party, according to the Washington Post. In addition to Trump's formidable lead over other GOP candidates, which is massive, Obama pointed to Trump's intensely loyal following among voters and a Trump-friendly conservative media that is forces that could work against Biden in 2024. These strengths, coupled with a largely polarized country, reportedly warned, Trump could make a far more formidable opponent than most Democrats realize. And he's right. I mean, he's not stupid. They're looking at the amount of support this guy has, the crowds that he draws wherever he goes, whether it's a Dairy Queen, if it's a rally he's holding outside somewhere, if it's in an arena, thousands of people show up for this guy. He packs a Dairy Queen just by showing up and buying ice cream or something. And it was either the former president Barack Obama himself or Michelle Obama who made a comment after the 2020 election, which was rigged for various reasons. We'll get into that later. But they saw the amount of votes that Trump received. He received over 74 million votes, and I think that caught them off guard. I think they thought it was going to be a cakewalk, but they underestimated the strength that he has among voters. For him to draw 74 million votes, which is the most for any sitting president in U.S. history, more than Barack Obama, who was the first black president, I think it caught a lot of people off guard. They weren't expecting that. And it doesn't end here with Obama. We have to take it seriously. Dems brace for a 24 Biden-Trump rematch. This is a Biden pollster who said this, a 2020 pollster. Donald Trump can win, number one. And number two, I think the parties can take away enough votes to make Donald Trump win. Number three, we cannot underestimate the dissatisfied mood of the public and his ability to mobilize voters. I think there's going to be a very close race. He seems impervious no matter how many indictments. You can run for president from jail. The mood of the public is not good because you have high inflation. These gas prices are out of control. Groceries are high. You have the war in Ukraine. Mortgage rates are out of control. Interest rates is going up. It's a lot of things going that people are very dissatisfied about under this administration. And they look at the two, Trump versus Biden, the economy, and Trump wins that all day long. You see, we had no new wars when he was in office. Things just seem to be going a lot smoother, and people see that. Now you have a record to compare between the two men. Now let's go to CNN. The chance of Trump winning another term is very real. It says Trump is not only in a historically strong position for a non-incumbent to win the Republican nomination, but he is in a better position to win the general election at any point during the 2020 cycle and almost at any point during the 2016 cycle. No one in Trump's current polling position in the modern era has lost an open presidential primary that didn't feature an incumbent. He's pulling in more than 50% of support in the national primary polls. I mean, we'll get some polling data in a second. You can see what kind of lead and amount of support this guy has among primary voters in the Republican Party. Washington Examiner. At this rate, Trump will be the GOP nominee. This article is very good. It talks about how a lot of the other GOP opponents are playing nice. They're either rallying behind Trump with his indictments or they're tiptoeing around trying not to confront him directly. And it says the way to earn the respect of Trump voters is to play dirty like Trump does. Because Trump is playing dirty. He's not playing nice. He's playing mean. If the roles were reversed, if he was not the one getting indicted, he would attack his opponent relentlessly. And I think Trump, he holds no punches. This is why people want to see him on the debate stage, because it would be a show. Ratings would probably double if you have Trump on the debate stage, because Trump doesn't hold any punches back. He's going to go after his closest opponent to the guy pulling 1%, as you saw with Jeb Bush back in 2016. You see he went after Ted Cruz. I don't think there was a single person that he didn't go after. I mean, there were some great moments from that debate. And I think that's what people want to see. But the way to beat Trump is not to play nice with him and rally behind him, because it looks like you're just supporting the guy. Why are you going to rally behind your opponent? I mean, the best way is to take the gloves off. Take the gloves off and go at him directly. But nobody's done that. DeSantis will tiptoe around him, may throw a jab here and there, but he's largely trying to avoid really confronting him head on. And I think that's what a lot of people expected when he got in the race. He was going to go toe-to-toe with Trump, but we have not seen that yet. It seems like his strategy is to tiptoe. A couple of jabs here and there, but not go head on with Trump. I think that's a huge mistake. I'm a Trump guy myself, but I think that's a huge mistake for these other candidates to not go directly at him, because it looks like you're either supporting him or you're scared of him. And that's not the way to beat Trump. I mean, the guy is just too large of a, he's too much of a force. He dominates the news cycle. He draws attention wherever he goes. If you have other candidates trying to gain momentum, he just sucks up all the energy, no matter where he goes. And so let's get into some polling here for the 2024 Republican nomination. Trump has a 38-point lead against his closest opponent, which is Ron DeSantis. DeSantis is down to 15.7%. Now, this is national polling. I know national polls don't mean, they do tell somewhat of a story, because if you have candidates who are leading at this point in the primary, if they have at least 50% of the support, they win 75% of the time. It's something in that range. So he has a very high chance of winning the nomination at this point in the race, at least 75%. It's only going to go up if the polling stays the same. His chances go up even more. Now let's look at 2020. All right, so you have 2020. Okay, look. 2015, actually. The 2015, this point in the race, Trump was up by 11.8%. Yeah, he was up at this point in the race 11.8%. And right now you have him up 38% for the primary nomination. And if you go to 538, he's at 53.3 and DeSantis is at 14. Ramaswamy at 6.7. These aren't. The thing is, he's a foreign president, and that's a lot of people like to compare. Oh well, Rudy Giuliani was ahead, he lost the nomination. Hillary Clinton was ahead, she lost to Barack Obama, but that's a little bit different when you have a former president who is consistently polling at taking 40, 45, 50% of the vote from these other candidates. His base is rock solid, so these other candidates are going to be fighting for the remaining 40, 50%, whatever it is, whatever it's going to be. That's why he can go into these states and just take up a lot of these delegates just by having about 45% of the vote. Now, if we go to the race to White House, he's in an extremely strong position to get the nomination, if it will load here. But they're projecting he's going to get about at least 2,000 delegates. It looks like the site is acting up, but he's in an extremely strong position to get the nomination with about 2,100 delegates and DeSantis at about 200 or so. So I wouldn't underestimate the strength of Trump if I were Democrats. And yes, the primary is not over right now, but I think, in my opinion, it will be Donald Trump at this rate. If something dramatically happens, but I don't see anything changing at this point. And Democrats know that. They know, okay, this guy is a serious threat. He can easily get 70 plus million votes. He got 74 last time. He's dominating the Republican primaries, and he's also within striking distance of Joe Biden in just the presidential polling, 2024. Let's check this out. Go to Trump versus Biden. In 2020, in the polling, Trump was not anywhere close to winning any polls. He was down by consistently 7 to 10%, and now you have him in the latest New York Times poll tied at 43, and the spread is less than a point within the margin of error. So things are a little bit different this time than you saw 2016. He hardly led in any polls back then. Like, now, polling isn't everything, but you can kind of get a consensus of what the public is feeling. Now, if there are no shenanigans, you won't have the Hunter Biden laptop suppression. You won't have Mark Zuckerberg. Maybe he won't spend $420 million in the election to swing in Joe Biden's direction, because a lot of states have put safeguards to protect that from happening. So you don't have COVID. You don't have all this mail-in ballot stuff that's going to happen like in 2020. So now it's going to be one-on-one without all this other nonsense getting in the way. So I think we'll get a better feel of how the election is going to turn out based on those facts. You have this record one term versus one term, Trump versus Biden with the economy and the military and all of that, foreign policy, and Trump beats him hands down in every category. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. But all right, guys, thanks for listening. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Take care.